Long-time Guild Wars 1 player, just starting Guild Wars 2. I have one big issue with the game so far. All the classes seem the same. So I'm happy to have this conversation with you. I very much disagree with that. Like, what makes you feel that way? Oh boy, lots to reply to. I'll do my best to convey my thoughts. Again, I'm new to Guild Wars 2, so I'm sure I'll be ignorant to some of these things. No, you're totally fine. And again, like, that's my jam. I answer a lot of questions, so hit me up with whatever. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. So, is there any profession or elite spec that can do something that none of the others can? Everyone can basically use every weapon. Not true. Engineers can hardly use any of them. Weapon rotations are not unique to any one profession. Yes, every profession's weapon rotations are different. So let me go over a few things here. I'm gonna go to character select because I like this. I like this conversation. Okay, so you got all the classes here, right? And each one of these classes can be 3 elite specs. So let's take a Guardian, for example. A Guardian can be a Willbender, which is kind of like a high-speed holy martial artist. A Dragon Hunter, which is kind of like they're coming out of Monster Hunter. They got massive traps, massive bow, you know, just damage. Or a Firebrand. And a Firebrand is kind of like a cleric or a holy priest type thing. They like fire and they like supporting and buffing people, right? So let's say you wanted to be a quickness providing healer. Okay, it is true that every single one of these classes has a way to be a quickness providing healer. So, what's different about them? A quickness providing healing Firebrand is able to use their tomes to call on other magics at any time, no matter what weapons are in their hand. They always have access to a very large projectile block, projectile reflect. They have the most amount of stability in the game. They can cast resistance on their party. They can pull enemies to a central point so that your team has an easier time hitting them. And those are always available to the Firebrand. The Mesmer does have a pull if she uses a focus, but that means sacrificing a weapon slot. To get that same utility the Guardian has, they have to use a very specific weapon, okay? But if you're playing a Mesmer with a Chrono, they have some very different things. A Mesmer has one of the biggest CCs in the game. Like, if the boss needs to be stunned, the Mesmer in 1 second can cast Moa's Signet, which tries to turn them into a harmless critter. And if it's a boss that can't be turned into a harmless critter, it does a truckload of crowd control, and it's in 1 second. No one else can match that 1 second CC from the Moa Signet. Engineer. The engineer that gives quickness is the Scrapper. They have gyros, these little flying drones, little helicopter things that help them out. No matter what their build is, they have access to a skill called Function Gyro. Function Gyro saves lives. So if someone's downstate, they can just point to it and send out the Function Gyro, and it will start reviving them as if a player was reviving them. And it will save their life. And if it saves 1 life, it goes on a 20-second cooldown, but you can send out a swarm of gyros and save up to 3 people, but then it goes on a 1-minute cooldown. So Engineer always, no matter the build, has life-saving robots that can try to save people if you are the quickness providing Scrapper. Mesmer does not have a life-saving tool like that. They have different things that they're good at, but they don't have that. All right? What's another one? Necromancer. Necromancer, if you're providing quickness, you're a Harbinger, the one that fires a gun and throws back vodka. They can be a healer. Don't really recommend it. It's okay. It is okay. It will work for anything that's not challenge mode content in the game. Honestly, Scourge is better. The other type of Necromancer is better, but that one doesn't provide quickness. So if you are going to be like, what is the best quickness providing healer I could do, I would not recommend Harbinger, although you could play it if it's just fun for you and easy content. Ranger. Ranger, my main, if you're gonna provide quickness, you will be an Untamed, which is kind of like throwing a dash of Berserker. Like, they can get really angry and power up, but you can move that energy between you and your pet. So your pet can be raging out or you can be raging out. The Untamed can do a ton of healing all around it. However, it doesn't have access to stability. Stability is a buff that blocks an incoming crowd control. Getting knocked up into the air, getting knocked down to the ground, getting feared, getting frozen solid. But basically, one stability buff completely blocks one lose control of your character. Guardian can fart out like 20 stability. Mesmer has some on demand. So does Engineer. So does almost everyone. Untamed has 0. That is a weakness of that class. If you want to be a healer that provides quickness, Untamed is one of my personal favorites for open world stuff, but for anything that's challenge mode, doesn't really work because it's missing that one crucial tool. Revenant. Revenant can bring 2 legends. If they're playing a Herald and they're bringing the Glint to give quickness to their party, they have room for 1 more legend. If they bring the Dwarven legend, they can put down a road on the ground that gives tons of stability to the party, similar to the Guardian. But it's like a burst of it. It's like a burst of here's a crap ton of stability for 5 seconds. Or their second legend could be the Centaur, which can do a big shield that blocks bullets. They have less shield buttons than Guardian does, but if they focus all their power into it, they can keep that 1 shield out for a very long amount of time. So, and they can choose how much they funnel into it. So they've got a whole like power system, like a battery pack, and you have to juggle the energy on it. So it's very, very different there. So I hope this kind of gets the point across. Like, yes, it is true that every single one of these can be a healer. Every single one of these can provide quickness, but they can all do something the others can't. And you've also like, these 3 are heavy armor. These are medium armor. These are light armor. They've all got like different things that they can do. And some of them are very easy to play and some of them are a mucking nightmare to play. So yeah, I hope that gets the general point across, but if you've got specific questions, I'm here. I see a lot more now. Appreciate you taking the time to discuss it. Sure. Yeah, and like there is very similar things. Like another one is Barrier. Barrier is just like increasing someone's max health above the cap, and it's just like a shield to block incoming hits, right? Like, watch here, I got 21k health. I hit this. Now I've got 21k health with 4k of Barrier. Some healers can pump out a ton of Barrier. Others can't do any Barrier at all. So it is a strength of certain healers that they can basically increase the maximum health of the party. Not everybody can do that. The healer I'm playing right now, a ranger, one of its strengths is it can snap its fingers to res someone who's about to die. Mesmer can't do that. You know, there are some that can, there's some that can't. I do a lot of pugging. I play with a lot of high DPS, so I like having tools that can res them if they stand in fire too long, more than just like having, boons and stuff. I still somewhat disagree with I still somewhat disagree with how they diverge from each other, but it is more than I initially seen. I think maybe the buff and debuff system might be why I feel that way. Yeah, so for example, there is a lot of consolidation with buffs to make it easy to understand. Like for example, if an elementalist sets you on fire with magic, or an engineer sets you on fire with a flamethrower, either way, you get a condition called burning. Okay? Like, either way. So, that is to simplify things. So, every healer in the game can provide some amount of might. Might is this buff here that looks like a sword, and it stacks up to 25 times. And might increases the party's damage. You expect your healer to be able to provide 25 stacks of might, but they all do it in different ways. Can you explain Heal Untamed? Yeah, sure. Okay, so the place I'm going to right now is a testing room. It's a place that you could just beat on a target dummy and test numbers and stuff. I'm gonna use this to answer the Untamed question that just came in. How good is Heal Scrapper? It's very good. Yeah, okay, let's talk about Scrapper. It's got those gyros that can save lives. Those are really freaking good. What's the downside of it? It does almost 0 damage. It does very, very low damage. Now, healers, their main job is not doing damage. But it is true that a Heal Untamed is going to do 10 times the damage of a Heal Scrapper. They're both doing a fraction of a true DPS, but it is true that a Heal Untamed, the fight's going to be over quicker. Okay, so how does Untamed work? Untamed has a mechanic called Unleash, and you can move it between you and your pet. Every time you click the button, it moves between you. Whoever has Unleash gets some bonuses, okay? It also changes your hotbar a little bit. So for example, the Untamed using the healing staff for their weapon, the main attack can aim at an enemy or an ally. It hurts enemies, it heals allies. That's just what it looks like, okay? If you have just unleashed, the next time you press the 1 key, you do an ambush, which is this massive explosion of energy. It hurts up to 5 enemies per second and heals up to 5 allies per second, okay? So if I was, playing on Untamed, I throw my pet at it, I would do this big explosion of healing energy, and then I would do this, and then just use some skills. And basically, you just throw lots of boons and heals around you, and then every 10 seconds, you could do those massive explosions, the ambushes. And that's generally it. But, you can see there's a lot of boons there, but it's kind of like a heartbeat monitor, right? Basically, every 10 seconds, you will do a massive burst of healing and buffing energy around you. And then in between those huge bursts, you've got your other skills to work with. But it's kind of just like, you know, like here's some massive healing and buffs, massive healing and buffs, massive. So it's like that. It's like there's a rhythm to it. That's how it is for Untamed. There are other healers that work, you know, very, very differently. Scourge, for example, just pumps out those barriers I mentioned. The Scourge is just like, you know, constantly throwing shields in front of your hit points to try to prevent you from getting hit in the first place, but then they do also have some healing for if you do take damage. You can revive players from a distance with function gyro. Yes. Yep. That is true. Let me see. Okay. So, do I still have a scrapper build? No, that's support max, support scrapper. Okay, so this is a support scrapper. There are multiple ways to play it. My weapons aren't appearing. It's still loading into the game. There we go. There's multiple ways to play it, but this is a way to play it. This button right here is not here for all engineers. It's only here for scrapper. And it's called function gyro. And basically, you see this like cute little drone above me? That means it's ready. Or you could just look right here if it's hard to see that, if the button's up. You can send that out up to that far away from you and it will revive people. So you can say, go save those people. If it hits one person, it has a 20-second cooldown. If it hits up to 3 people, it has a 1-minute cooldown. It will go back and go out, save people, and come back to you. And you could deploy other gyros, like Bulwark Gyro is this drone, and it's doing shielding around me. See the blue numbers? Those are barrier. Then you got Blast Gyro, which is this drone, and it does an explosion around you. And the whole thing is these little gyros, these little robots, that's the scrapper thing. But no matter what is on your bar, they always have function gyro to save lives. And that's awesome. That's really good for pugging because, you know, you never know how new or how experienced the people you're gonna be with will be. And being able to snap your fingers and res someone every 20 seconds is huge. You know, Mesmer is amazing at support, but they don't have that ability. They do not have the ability to snap their fingers and save someone's life. From downstate. I'm referring to downstate revives with that statement. Function gyro dies so quick as well, in World v World it does. In PvE, that almost never happens. In PvP, usually you would CC it to stop the revive. So in PvP, if you're gonna use the gyro to res someone, you would send the gyro out and then throw an invisibility potion onto it, or you would throw the stability dome over it so that it can get the revive off. Illusion of Life, they nerfed it recently. That trick doesn't really work anymore. Luminary stole Hollowsmith's mechanic. Not entirely. Luminary can't overheat. So Hollowsmith's the only one that can kill itself. Then there's that necro trait that doesn't let allies completely die, just downstate. Last Rites. Okay, so yeah, if you're a support necromancer, there's a trait they usually take called Last Rites, and what it does is if anyone is downstate near you and you're not downstate, they don't bleed out. By default, if you go downstate, you're taking ticking damage and your health is getting lower and lower and lower. If there's a blood necromancer near you and you are downstate, you're stabilized. So effectively, any damage you would be taking is getting countered entirely. So that's a strength of the healing necromancers. Yeah, that's something that they do that others don't. It's a passive. Yep, that is a passive. Yeah, it is. Hang on, I can swap tunes again. I can show it because I would say the top 3 classes I've played the most of in this game is Ranger, Necro, and Engineer. I have dabbled in all the classes, but those 3 I've played the most. Okay, so here is, what is this build? This is a Scourge. Okay, so this trait line is Blood Magic, right? In Blood Magic, there's a thing here. Let me find it. Here we go. Last Rites. As long as you are not downed, allies near you do not bleed out if they are downed. Gain healing power based on your current health. And basically, the lower your health gets, the better a healer you are. And also, allies don't bleed to death when they're near you. No, they could still die, right? Like, if a mob downs an ally, and the ally's down, and the mob is actively punching them, they're going to take that damage. But it's just saying they don't bleed out, which is still absolutely massive. Like if for example, let's say they're bleeding out for 2k health per second, you're effectively healing them for 2k health per second just by breathing near them. So this gives you a lot of time to save lives. Like, it's like, okay, Billy is down, but the boss is about to do this big attack. I need to focus on this, then get to Billy afterward. Billy will wait on you to get to him because this will make it so that he's not bleeding all over the place. So yeah, this is a strength of the blood magic trait line that on the Necromancer. No one else has this. No one else has that. But yeah, it is true that every single base class can fill every role, but they all do it in different ways and they all have different strengths. And that's what makes people, you know, choose different mains.